Have you ever pulled aside a player to give her some coaching, some helpful advice, what you do as a coach? And instead of it actually being helpful, she ends up spiraling even more, getting in her own head, maybe even like avoiding you a little bit. And you're like, what the heck? I was just trying to coach you and now you're shutting down. Especially if you're a male coach, this can be a tough tightrope to walk, but it doesn't have to be. There are ways that you can really coach and give helpful feedback to girl athletes that help them instead of cause them to shut down. And in this episode, I'm going to be going over 3 ways that you can give feedback and have hard conversations with your girl athletes without causing them to shut down. And I have been coaching girls for the past 14 years. I've won 4 state championships as a coach, and it hasn't always been easy. I am in the same boat as you are, but especially if you're a male coach, it can be a tough line to balance as well because you're like, I don't even know what their world is like, and it can be a hard thing. So let's talk about it. 3 things that you can be doing. Number 1, I didn't coin this term. I'm not actually sure where it came from, but I use it all the time in my coaching. It's connect before you correct. And I'm sure you're familiar with the 4-to-1 positive to negative ratio of feedback. So there's research around how not just girl athletes, but we all tend to do best when we're getting a 4-to-1 ratio of like 4 positive, constructive things to 1 thing that we need to work on. So that kind of goes in this whole bucket of like connect before you correct, meaning they have to have some sort of like rapport and equity with you before you correct. And a lot of that can be built in various ways, throughout the season or off the court, just like getting to know your athletes. I think that's like coaching 101 is like make sure you know your athletes on more of a level than just who they are as an athlete. Because building up that equity with them allows them to trust you more. And then you're going to be able to give them feedback and give them correction. Not that you, like, as a coach, sometimes you're like, well, that's my job. I'm entitled to give them feedback. But yes, you can. But there's an effective way to do it and there's an ineffective way to do it. So if you want your words to actually land, then it would behoove you to make sure that you are building that rapport with your athletes, connecting with them, and knowing about them outside of their sport a little bit. So connect before you correct is good, just like as a general theme. I even have like a 4-to-1 on my clipboard and on my whiteboard in my gym. So it just reminds me of like, continue to point out the good and be specific. Like it's not just a good job. It's what were they specifically doing? Like nice job angling your platform to target, a good work holding your finish. Like all of those things, just like think of it like a piggy bank, like you're just, boop, 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 inserting the coins because you're going to have to make withdrawals from that, and correction and feedback, although good, and we need to do it and we want athletes to love it, they don't always, and they see it as criticism from time to time. So building up that equity, building up that rapport. The other thing is like literally when you're going to say something that's coaching to an athlete, like first say what they did well. Like it can easily be like, hey, nice job setting up that screen. Next time I want you to try to drive to the hoop. I don't know. That's a basketball thing. I don't play basketball. I don't coach basketball. I'm not sure why I chose that. But if that makes sense, great. If not, make it make sense. Okay. But the whole idea is like find out like 1 little nugget, like, hey, good job doing this. Next time, do that. And that leads me to my next point. My next suggestion is to give feed forward information. So the first one was connect before you correct. Find ways to do that outside of practice. Find ways to do it at the beginning of the season. Do that when you're coaching, make some sort of connection, what they did well, but then give feed forward information. As coaches, we like to point out the negative. It's what we're good at. It's what we're paid to do. Not very much, but we're paid to do it. Okay. But giving feed forward information is more about what is going to happen, like what you see them doing, what you want them to do in the future. And it actually instills some belief in them that you can do it, because feedback information is just about what you did wrong. Okay. So you didn't get your hands up over the net. I mean, that's truth, but what can we do next time? Okay. Hey, next time, if you press your hands over the net nice and big, you're going to get that block. And so it's both like what you want them to do. So it's giving them feedback and criticism, honestly, but it's also instilling a belief in them that they can do it. Like you're going to get that block next time. So giving feed forward information is really great also because it kind of removes some of the judgment, if you will. So a lot of times with girl athletes, they tend to internalize some of this feedback as like you are like personally not attacking, but like sort of attacking me when it's like, no, it's not you. It's just your skill and what you're doing out there. Okay. Which might not sound much better, but kind of delinking those things and using this, like even just saying next time, or you were so close in this next play or for this next ball, here's what I want you to do, or let's adjust this one thing and see how it makes a difference. And so that feed forward information is just a helpful way to think about it. Like we're looking towards the future because I know what you're capable of instead of just like focusing on the past. Okay, the last one that I want to cover today is ask for her input because athletes, not just girl athletes, they tend to do better when they have autonomy and just meaning that they are part of the process of their growth and of their improvement. And obviously, you're not always going to have time to ask them questions. Sometimes you got to coach on the fly and you're just doing what you're doing. But if you are having more of like a pull them aside or showing them some film or, you're taking them out, asking them a simple question on like, what did you see? Right. Or I saw that you went for that ball or you shaded left and the ball was hit to the right. What did you notice? And so you're asking them, like, what was your perspective? It's helping you kind of get into their world a little bit. And instead of you just saying what you saw, because they probably do have a perspective. And if they don't, then it allows them to think about it. Like, what are you noticing? What are you going to try next time? What would have been a better choice next time? Here's what I'm seeing. What's your take on it? And so all of those are really good words that you can say to help kind of build rapport, autonomy. It helps them like take some ownership of their development as well and recognize that like I'm part of this too and what I think about matters. Okay. And so I love that to just think like, how can I bring her into this picture? How can I ask her? Because a lot of coaching you'll find, I mean, this is what I found is that when I first started coaching, I felt like I had to give them all the answers and I had to kind of prove that I knew what I was talking about. And so I had to coach a lot. As I've gotten older and coached more, I'm realizing that it's about helping them find the answers and, prompting them, leading them, allowing them to dig a little bit to figure out like all of the answers to these things because they're not always going to have me out there on the court. And your coach, you can't be everywhere. And you actually don't want them to be 100% reliant on you for everything. You want them to have the skills to coach themselves out there. Of course, they're going to need you for things and whatever, like you're going to be teaching skills, but like when they're out there in those big moments and they're out there playing the game, sometimes they can't even hear you. And so allowing them to be like critical thinkers is really important. That's also why I'm so passionate about like making sure that athletes have mental training skills that they can rely on when they're out there without you. And so a lot of coaches are, frustrated because their players can't come back from mistakes or they struggle when the pressure is on. The first question I ask is, well, what have you done to train that? And they're like, well, I'm telling them mistakes are okay and I'm telling them to shake it off, but it's not working. I'm like, well, that's because that's not actually a skill that they can use. It's great. Like those are good words to say, but it's not actually getting them to actually shake off the skill and they can't even really hear you half the time. So give them a skill that they can use on their own. And we started, incorporating mental training into our program about 6 years ago, teaching them things like the snapback routine. So they have that skill out there on the court, how to find their hike number and doing their own pre-competition routine so that they're ready for the competition, how to have good productive self-talk and affirmations and reset words that they can fall back on when they're struggling so that you don't have to be the person that's out there trying to like get everybody out of their heads. You can spend so much time coaching the emotions of the game and you are going to be left emotionally exhausted. So let's take some of that off of your plate so that you can actually get back to coaching and you can give feedback and you can be critical as a coach and your athletes have the skills to like handle your hard coaching and also handle the pressures of the sport, which part of that, let's be honest, is tough coaching. So here is what I did with my team. I have a video where I break down the three common skills, like the three most impactful skills that I teach every single day in every single practice. So there's a video that you can head to next. I also break it down even further at my free training for coaches. That's at coachbretraining.com. You can learn more in depth these mental training skills and how you can actually incorporate these into your program in a really easy plug and play way. So those two resources are where you should go next, either the coachfreetraining.com or check out that next video, the three skills that I teach every single day in practice. So I will see you there.